The Poison type. Known for its capabilities of applying poison and toxic, really powerful type on the defensive end, but pretty lackluster offensively. However, when paired up with certain types, it can solve some of these offensive flaws. So here we go, calculating the best poison type combination. To calculate the greatest type combination for this video, I will be using this formula. Hopefully I can simplify and explain this quickly. So basically a type combination will gain 2 points for each type it is super effective against, and a bonus 1 point if both of its affiliated types are super effective against the same type. It will lose 2 points for each weaknesses, an additional loss of 3 points if it has a double weakness. It will gain half a point for each resistance, another half point for every double resistance, lose 2 points if both types are resisted by the same type, gain 2 for each immunity, and lose 2 for each liability, which are types that are immune against it. Hopefully you understood that. If there is a tiebreaker, I will just choose. And since we are dealing with the poison type, I will only talk about the combination's liability to the steel type if it involves more than just the steel type, since all poison types has this characteristics. In 17th, and the worst poison type combination is poison and normal. It is only super effective against 2 types and has 4 resistances. It also has 2 weaknesses, and both poison and normal are resisted by rock. Plus it's a liability against steel and ghost, but it does have immunity to ghost. Final score, -2. In 16th is poison and dragon. This combination is super effective against only 3 types with 7 resistances. It has a double resistance to grass and also has 4 weaknesses. It is a liability against both fairy and steel. Final score, -2. In 15th is poison and bug. This combination is super effective against 4 types, with both poison and bug being super effective against grass. It also has 5 resistances with a double resistance to grass and fighting. It also has 4 weaknesses, and both bug and poison are resisted by poison and ghost. Final score, -1.5. In 14th is poison and psychic. This combination is super effective against 4 types with 4 resistances, including a double resistance to fighting. It also has 3 weaknesses and is a liability to both steel and dark. Final score, 0.5. In 13th is poison and rock. This combination is super effective against 6 types with 6 resistances, including a double resistance to poison. It also has 4 weaknesses with a double weakness to ground, and both poison and rock are resisted by ground. Final score, 0.5. In 12th is poison and electric. This combination is super effective against 4 types with 8 resistances. It also has 2 weaknesses, including a double weakness to ground, and is a liability against ground and steel. Final score, 1. In 11th is poison and grass. This combination is super effective against 5 types with 5 resistances, including a double resistance to grass. It also has 4 weaknesses, and both grass and poison are resisted by poison. Final score, 1. In 10th is poison and fire. This combination is super effective against 5 types, where both fire and poison are super effective against grass. It also has 8 resistances with 3 double resistances. It also has 4 weaknesses with a double weakness to ground. Both fire and poison are resisted by rock. Final score, 1.5. In 9th is poison and ice. This combination does not exist, but if it did, it would be super effective against 5 types, where both ice and poison are super effective against grass. It would also have 5 resistances and 5 weaknesses, with a final score of 1.5. In 8th is poison and fighting. This combination is super effective against 7 types with 6 resistances, including a double resistance to bug. It also has 3 weaknesses with a double weakness to psychic, and both fighting and poison are resisted by poison, plus is a liability against ghost and steel. Final score, 2.5. In 7th is poison and flying. This combination is super effective against 4 types, where both flying and poison are super effective against grass. It also has 5 resistances, including a double resistance to grass, fighting, and bug. It also has 4 weaknesses and the immunity to ground. However, both flying and poison are resisted by rock. Final score, 3. In 6th is poison and ghost. This combination is super effective against 4 types with 4 resistances, with a double resistance to bug and poison. It also has 4 weaknesses and is a liability against normal and steel, but has immunity to normal and fighting. Final score, 3. In 5th is poison and fairy. This combination is super effective against 5 types with 5 resistances. It has double resistance to bug and fighting, and also has 3 weaknesses, and both poison and fairy are resisted by poison, but it does have an immunity to dragon. Final score, 5.5. In 4th is poison and water. This combination is super effective against 5 types with 8 resistances. It also has 3 weaknesses and a final score of 6. In 3rd is poison and ground. This combination is super effective against 7 types with 5 resistances, including a double resistance to poison. It also has 4 weaknesses and the immunity to electric, but is a liability to flying and steel. final score 7. And second is poison and steel. This combination is super effective against 4 types, where both steel and poison are super effective against fairy. It also has 9 resistances with a double resistance to grass, bug, and fairy. It also has 2 weaknesses with a double weakness to ground. Plus it has the immunity to poison. Final score 8. First place in the best poison type combination is poison and dark. This combination is super effective against 4 types with 4 resistances. It also only has 1 weakness with the immunity to psychic, with a final score of 8, which is tied with poison and steel. Yeah, that's my calculation of the poison types. Since the poison type is viable defensively, its main purpose of being paired up with another type is to be better offensively, and to be able to hit steel. And as for the video, that's about it.